بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فأما الزبد فيذهب جفاء، وأما ما ينفع الناس فيمكث في الأرض. صدق الله العظيم. Across the ages, history records the rise of nations through the accomplishments people make generation after generation. And today, history stands as a witness on the foundation of the sanitary system and its development over 100 years. The thing that helped changing the way of life in the capital. Thousands of years ago, the ancient Egyptians knew the idea of digging drains to decrease the torrent of the Nile. Not only this, even the builders of the pyramids got the idea of digging deep into the ground to dispose their waste, or what is known today as the sewers. This stayed as the only idea for the sewage systems over the years, even though the population was getting bigger until the age of the Khedive Ismail, who came back awed by the beauty of Paris and decided to develop Cairo into Paris of the East. Public sewers was one of the main ideas to develop the city and stop the scattered ponds and swamps all over the capital's streets and squares. Although the project never started until he was ousted in 1879. The project of Cairo's sewage system stayed on hold throughout the rolling of period of the Khedive Tawfiq, although he assigned a few experts to start executing the project. But for technical and financial reasons, all the studies were refused in 1885. Until the Egyptian government in the age of the Khedive Abbas assigned Charles Carket, the English expert, who succeeded in installing the sewage system in the Indian city of Bombay. He was given the job of designing and executing the project to meet the capital's needs in 1932, serving 650,000 people, digging 68,000 meters square per day. The project was operated in 1914, and it consisted of a few sections as follows. Disposing water in parts of the city using natural inclination, and in other parts by using airlifters to dispose the collected water to a main complex 1.6 meter in diameter and 13.6 kilometer in length, starting from Gumra, reaching a disposal station in Kafr Gamous, or what is known as Sin, or what is known as Ain Shams nowadays, which pumps the sewer's water to a purification tank in El Gabal Asfar, and use the purified water to water 3,500 acres of land. And to operate this project, the public sewer service was started to handle the operations. With the increase of the population and the presence of the sewer system, it was easy for the people to dispose their wastewater, plus draining the Nile flood water. In 1916, all of this led to an erosion in the first complex, which made the government start the sewage expansion project in 1924. The project consisted of building a second main complex 12 kilometers in length, starting from Gumra to Amireya through the street of the Egyptian Gulf. Building a disposal station in Amireya with a designed energy of 100,000 cubic meters per day to dispose the wastewater to the purification tanks in El Gabal Asfar. Building emergency tanks in Ain Shams to handle the excess water or floods on a distance of 100 acres. In 1934, the thought started to find a spare force and building two stations to pressure air in Balbaga, Shobra, and Old Egypt, after Cairo drowned in sewer water for a week because one air pressure pump was broken in Maruf station, and the leakage of the pressured air which operates the lifters due to the erosion in air pipes. In 1950, it was decided to build a third complex of 2,000 by 1,900 dimensions, starting from Qasr Laini Street across Port Said Street to dispose at El Amaraya Station, and this to handle the increase of disposals, which exceeded the already two built complexes due to the increase of population. In 1955, the Minister of the Municipal and Rural Affairs, Major Abdulatif al-Baghdadi, was assigned to study the execution of the South Area project due to the appearance of a few rashes, especially in the south. The minister formed a staff to put a complete project plan based on scientific basis and facts to raise the general health level, putting in consideration the planned expansion projects for the next 30 years and delivering the service for the ignored places. With the help of some foreign experts, the staff was done putting a complete project, summarize them, switching some of the city's disposals by a few lifters in the south area, which disposes in a main lifting station in Dayora, pump the disposals to the west through a pipe under the Nile to be processed in a station built in El Zanin area. Building a lifting station in the fish market area to ease the workload on the station in Ain Shams, and shifting into El Khusus area, and building the processing station in El Khusus to ease the workload on El Gabal Asfar station. And with the founding of Nasr City in the early 60s, a few projects were executed in the area and the neighboring areas, apart from executing Middle and South Cairo project. However, in the year 1964, due to the increase in disposals and the recent Nile floodings, the capital was in danger of drowning. And due to the urgency of the situation, on 9th of March 1965, the President ordered the formation of the Permanent Committee of the Cairo and Giza Sewage Facility under the Presidency of Engineering Azad Salama, the Minister of Electric Power, and giving the committee all the authorizations needed, making its decisions valid and working for all departments and ministries of the government to promote the facility and search for an urgent solution to save Cairo from drowning in 100 days. The committee's most important works: completion of the troubled South project, building a few stations in Qasr al-Dabara, Qasr al-Laini, El Tawil areas, El Sahel, Badia and Shobra, Saad Zaglul, Qadri and El Sayyada Zainab, building a few complexes in these areas as well as manufacturing the mechanical tools locally. On July 20, 1965, the project was operated, which saved Cairo from drowning and led to improving the sewage systems. Over the past 3 decades, the achievements have been carried out and a number of lifting stations and service stations have been implemented. Expansion works have been carried out in all service areas. Treatment plant in El Salam City and Balak's municipality in Shorb al Khaimah with a capacity of 199,000 cubic meters per liter each. Public project for sanitation in Greater Cairo on the 28th of November 1976. A protocol was signed between some of the Egyptian engineering and consulting organizations and some British organizations to develop a definitive solution to the sewage crisis and to confront the increase in the disposals until year 2000. Financed by the Arab Fund for Economic and Social Development to cover the cost of this study, which resulted in the implementation of 3 gigantic projects, which covers all the needs up to the year 2030 at a cost of £4 billion as follows: the Eastern Nile Side General Project, the Western Nile Side General Project, General Project of the South and Helwan. The research and design phase started with the knowledge of Experience House Aimbrick and the search for funding sources for £6 billion. The funding agencies were the United States, the United Kingdom, the European Investment Bank, France and Kuwait Development Fund. On 19th of September 1985, the British Prime Minister then, Margaret Thatcher, participated in laying the foundation stone for the execution of the project. First, the general project of the East of the Nile, which began in 1986 and was launched in 1992. The project shall consist of a central inclined access tunnel starting from Maadi with a diameter of 4 meters, passing through the areas of Ain al-Sira, Said al-Zainab, Port Said Strait, Bab al-Khal, until La Maria. Construction of a large lifting station in La Maria with 8 giant pumps with total disposal of 2 million cubic meters to be disposed in 2 tanks, 3 by 2 meters in dimensions, and disposal of sewage water to the area of Khusus, to be received by a giant helix station with 11 helical pumps capable of lifting the 1.8 million cubic meters. The water is raised to a higher level to be inclined to 2 tanks, 3 by 3.5 in dimensions each, and length of 5.5 kilometers to reach a similar station, Al-Khalig Helix Station, which raises the disposals through 2 tanks of the same dimensions, and 2.3 kilometers in length, reaching in the end a new processing station in El Gabal Asfar area. El Gabal Asfar treatment plant is the largest treatment plant in the Middle East and has been constructed on 3 stages. The first stage with a capacity of 1.2 million cubic meters and was operated in 1992. The second stage with a capacity of 500,000 cubic meters per day and was operated in 2005. And a third stage has been added with a capacity of 300,000 cubic meters per day, and other stages with a capacity of 500,000 cubic meters per day. The total disposals reached 2.5 million cubic meters per day in 2018, and the expansions continues until it hits 4 million cubic meters a day. This giant station produces 30% of the required electrical power for the stations from the active gases emitted from the organic waste treatment. However, the treated water is used in the rehabilitation of 50,000 acres. The general project also includes the replacement and renewal of 97 lifting stations, the construction of 18 new lifting stations, and the implementation of new sewage networks to serve many areas, especially the north area, west area, and the center of the city. As for the areas of Nasser City and New Egypt, it has been agreed that it will be disposed depending on natural inclination to the lifting station of Ain Shams, which underwent many expansions from 1914 to 2015, then to Al Baraka Station, which was built in the 90s. The second general project of Helwan, main complex starting from Zahra al-Maadi to a Tabim parallel to the Nile, starts with dimensions of 1.6 by 1.72 meters and ends in a diameter of 3.4 square meters. 3 successive helix stations on the tunnel path in Al-Masara Helwan and Tabin areas to reach the main lifting station in Tabin, which disposes 350,000 cubic meters per day and has been expanded in 2009 to 550,000 cubic meters, and again to 650,000 cubic meters in 2016. The project also included a number of sub-networks that carry out secondary processing, which can be used for planting trees, forests, and specific crops. Third, the general project of West Bank of the River Nile, the establishment of number of stations in the areas of Mbaba, Bulag, south of the region, and Kufr, as well as the development and upgrading of the capacity of Zanin's processing station, which holds capacity of 330,000 cubic meters per day. The construction of a new treatment station in Abu Rawash, with a capacity of 1.2 million cubic meters, in addition to the construction of a number of major complexes in the areas of Mbaba, Giza, and the installation of the service for the first time in a few villages of Giza area, which count up to 20 areas. The general sanitary project in Shorbel Kema. The drainage system was followed by the city council and transferred to the sewage company in the late 80s. The company implemented a general project to serve the sewage system of the city, consisting of 7 lifting stations that ends with the processing station of Balax, which handles a capacity of 600,000 cubic meters per day, and implementing a few complexes and networks, and operating the project over a few stages until 1995. And after more than 100 years had passed, the drainage system of Cairo was completed, serving more than 14 million citizens over an area of 1,000 kilometers in the cities of Cairo, Shorbel Kema, El Abour, 15th of May, and New Cairo. Their disposals exceeded 4.5 million cubic meters, and this system includes 120 lifting stations, 6 processing stations, and networks of different diameters reaching lengths up to 7,000 kilometers. Development, achievements, and challenges. The company applies the latest operating programs for the measurements and maintenance of the equipment, which contribute to the maintenance of equipment, upgrading its efficiency and decreasing the consumption of energy. The company received the top quality international certificates ISO 9001 for the fields of operating projects, maintenance, and execution, and ISO 17025 for the quality of the labs. The Global Certificate of Sustainable Quality, TSM, for the operating of some stations and networks, and their employees are certified by as international operators. The company owns a fleet of the latest tools and equipment used in the networks for all uses. Sanitation, scanning for internal defects using videos, internal repairing without digging, welding underwater surfaces, applying occupational safety and health measures in various fields to protect employees and citizens. And it has developed an independent diving department for working under the most difficult conditions under the surface of the water, within the wells and sewage networks, and the workers have a global certificate of these works. The company controls the industrial facilities before discharging liquid wastes on the sewage network to maintain healthy environment. The company succeeded in setting up a plant for the production of organic manure to benefit from the sewage waste in order to preserve the environment.
إن شاء الله في عندنا محطة في حلوان دي جاهزة إن شاء الله في خلال شهرين ممكن تدخل الخدمة ودي في حوالي 80 مليون جنيه.
A major achievement was the preparation of a plan for the future of sanitation until 2037, including replacement, renovation, and expansion projects, and it's upgraded yearly to meet the estimated changes in the population numbers and their consumption of drinking water. The latest computer programs were implemented to project the networks on the GIS maps and its hydraulical analysis to identify the problems and solve it. The hotline 175 was started to receive the citizens' complaints, and a number of customer service centers were set up to solve the people's problems and respond to their needs as fast as possible. Apart from the independent department to aware the people of the sanitary projects and its importance. Putting an annual plan to get ready for the rainfall, by using the equipment needed and installing them on the streets to save the citizens from heavy rains and water companies. The company has emergency teams ready and capable of handling things in cases of crisis. The company seeks to implement a number of self-help projects, including the establishment of a concrete coating unit, workshop for metals, and another workshop for repairing equipment and pumps. Continuous training of workers in all fields to increase their efficiency and to be up to date of and apply advanced technologies. Health and social care for the workers by implementation of the health insurance system and the establishment of a social and sports club. The issues of the draining system are not over yet. The core of the earth is overfilled with giant networks and pipes that wants to explode, and the people living on top are not aware of anything going beneath, and the giant investments made by the company director and its workers, either financial or physical, over a period of 100 years to stop this beast from exploding all the sewer waters inside it. The overpopulation and the unplanned expansions are the main problems facing the sanitary system, especially with the very narrow streets where digging is so difficult to fix or apply a new network. Also, the trespassing over the networks by building on it and stealing the street covers, and not meeting the requirements for disposed wastes from different facilities.
ويعتبر الصرف الصحي من أهم الضروريات التي تمس حياة المواطن، كما يعتبر أحد مقاييس المستوى الحضاري للأمم. ومن هنا حددت الشركة رسالتها، وهي تقديم خدمة صرف صحي آمنة ومستديمة بأعلى جودة وأعلى كفاءة وبأقل تكلفة اقتصادية، بهدف رضاء العميل والمساهمة في الحفاظ على الصحة العامة والبيئة. وفي سبيل ذلك فإن الشركة تواكب أحدث الأنظمة والتكنولوجيا في جميع مجالات الصرف الصحي. وقد حظي هذا القطاع بمزيد من الجهود، وأولته الدولة اهتماما كبيرا بخطط التنمية. وبالرغم من أن جمهورية مصر العربية من أوائل الدول التي أدخلت الصرف الصحي بالشرق الأوسط، إلا إنه ما زال هناك تحديات مستمرة تحتاج إلى المزيد من الجهود والاستثمارات لتلبية الاحتياجات وتحسين مستوى الخدمة. وهناك الكثير من التحديات والمخاطر التي تواجه العاملين بمحطات الرفع والمعالجة والشبكات، الذين يبذلون جهودا فائقة ويواجهون واحدة من أخطر الملوثات التي توجي بحياتهم وتضر بالصحة العامة والبيئة. وإني لأنتهز الفرصة لأتوجه لجميع العاملين بالشكر والتقدير، بل والإعزاز من أجل تضحياتهم لهذا الوطن، حتى نحيا جميعا في بيئة آدمية نظيفة. وكما عاهدنا ونعاهد المواطن المصري الأصيل والحريص على مصلحة بلده بالعمل والجهد والتطوير المستمر للوصول لأعلى مستوى لمنظومة الصرف الصحي.